Starlight might have discovered the secrets of immortality.
Yeah.
The secrets of
true.
Starlight find the G5 cast discovering the secrets of immortality.
The secret of Starlight is that she turned herself into a pickle.
Funniest thing I've ever
Exactly.
Well, have you tried just not dying? It's super easy. Like, I'm doing it right now.
Oh,
Starlight,
man.
how are you alive and young? I just haven't
Carrots.
aged.
Carrot juice. Lots of it.
Is it
Good for
Family
your
Guy?
eyes?
No,
Turns out
it's
they're also
being
good
John
for your life.
Malkovich.
I think it was referenced in Family Guy.
Probably. Something was referenced in Family Guy? I can't believe it.
Wow.
You ever have that where you hear a joke on Family Guy and then later on in life you see what it was referencing?
Yes.
All
no.
the time.
There was a moment like that in. There was moments like that because I went to film school. Hi, everybody. This is my film school cap. No, I went to film school.
You went to film school to understand Family
Wow.
Guy?
Yes, I did. But there was.
Family Guy major?
Yeah.
I'm a Family Guy major.
Well,
And I minored in American Dad.
well, I think it insists on itself.
No, I would be in a film class, and we watched Singing in the Rain. And if you haven't seen Singing in the Rain, number one, watch Singing in the Rain. Number two, they but they took 4 or 5 different songs from Singing in the Rain and just plopped it in Family Guy. So we'd be sitting there with my class, and a song would start up, and there'd be a gasp of realization from the entire classroom hall of that was your Family Guy, and it's like, I need you to stop. I need all of you to stop now.
It seems today that
No,
all
you
is
Yeah, that was in Singing in the Rain.
Yeah, that's my favorite Singing in the Rain song. It's wild how many things Family Guy gets away with referencing.
I like this.
Consistently.
You mean they do other things than reference stuff?
I like this Starlight Glimmer panel that's now a Family Guy discussion panel.
It's
Luckily,
a
there's
Griffin
a Family
appreciation
Guy.
Yeah.
Peter.
We're at the Starlight Glimmer
Peter, the
panel,
horse is
Peter.
here.
That was really good.
You know how easy it would be to use one of the AI generators to just have her sing the Family Guy theme though?
Starlight sing
my
the Family
God.
Guy.
Oh,
Let's just pay Kelly Sheridan.
Kelly.
She's on Cameo.
That's
just
true.
pay Kelly Sheridan to sing it.
There we go.
That's our goal. Everybody, if by the end of this panel we can fundraise enough. No.
I'm sorry, Twilight, but where are those good old-fashioned values?
that's what we all wish to rely.
Luckily, there's a family horse.
It's only a couple hours into TrotCon.
no.
We're already talking about Family Guy, everybody. It's been day one, you
Yep.
know. But
Wait, I can seamlessly get us from Family Guy back to Glimmer.
I'm
Okay.
so curious. Go. for it.
Oh.
So Family Guy, you had said, did several Singing in the Rain jokes.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Family Guy, Seth MacFarlane loves musicals.
Yes.
Yep.
They also grabbed Shapoopy straight from The Music Man,
Oh.
Yes.
which served as the inspiration for the first Flim Flam Brothers song.
Right?
Oh.
Because he grabbed that from the You Got Trouble song.
Yep.
Oh.
Which was in My Little Pony, which features
Which features-
Great Horse, Starlight Glimmer.
Actually,
LeBron.
This has been our session of 6 degrees of Starlight Glimmer, everybody.
actually, there's an even simpler one. The song that Where Friendship Bound is based on is the same that they used for Road
Yep.
to Quahog, or
Yeah,
Road
it was
to,
based on the
This
Road
is
to
from
film
Road to
series.
Morocco.
Yep.
It's from
Yeah.
Road to
First-
Morocco,
Yep.
which was in a movie. Yeah.
And I think Where Friendship Bound slaps so much more than the Family Guy steak. So,
Wow.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
What a cutting
There's
criticism.
no horn section in the Family Guy song.
I just think that it's easier to connect the two by just saying there's a horse in Family Guy that's a recurring joke.
There you go.
Starlight's a horse.
There's
There
a
you go.
horse. There's a horse in Family
Thank
Guy.
you for coming to our Starlight Glimmer Appreciation panel.
Exactly. We did it.
Pretty soon we're just going to reduce it down to a clip of Kelly Sheridan saying "beat her,"
Can we pay?
B-E-T-E-R.
Can we pay her to
how
do
much
that?
is it worth in terms of cameo costs?
Oh my God.
I think
Who
for
is
a
willing to pay $50 to get Kelly Sheridan to say
say
"beat her"?
beater.
Can we just combine a few of our things together in one cameo and just split it?
You cut it
We're
together.
going to go in $12.50 a piece on the Glimmer Gang panel.
Yes.
Can we flip it the other way around?
Blood
and
pact
have,
right now.
and have
We're getting
Patrick-
on Cameo.
And have Patrick Warburton sing in our town.
Ooh.
That one's realistic,
That would be
actually.
majestic.
He would do that.
Life is so grand in our town.
In our town. Welcome to our Starlight Glimmer panel. All right, Minty, why don't you introduce it here?
So what we were planning to do to start the panel, a lot of people missed it because either because they didn't go to last TrotCon or because YouTube kind of shoved it on the side. Would you like to have a show of Missing Out, a fan animation about Starlight Glimmer?
The screens aren't on.
Oh, the button is at the bottom.
You'll just have to imagine it. We'll play the audio. You'll have to picture it in your head. Listen, this is what they did in the 1940s. There were these things called radios. Radios, they played music and audio stories. While they're working on this, I'm going to sit here and stall. How are you all doing so far? Cool. I'm glad to hear it. I run the social media, so I appreciate that you're having a good time. What's your okay? On the count of three, what's your favorite thing? Oh, okay.
Oh, that's my old slides from the...
Oh, okay.
Good.
Okay, we're good to go. I was gonna finish my thought. On the count of three, what's your favorite thing about Starlight all at once? 1, 2, 3.
His daddy issues.
Our girlfriend.
I heard she's purple. I'll take that as the answer. She's purple.
That is factually correct.
That's my 7th favorite thing about her.
All right, so
Actually, if you're gonna show Missing Out, I have
Yeah.
to bounce for 10 minutes. Do you want Blue Brony to come up since he did the...
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Actually,
Hey, Blue,
Blue,
come be
in.
me for this.
Explain this one, Minty. We have cast and crew here. Oh.
I'll be back.
Do we have sound?
I can help.
Sound, speed. We do have sound.
We do have sound. Okay.
Are we
don't
able
have.
to turn lights off? That's the
Hi,
question.
I'm Luck Rock.
Hi, Luck Rock.
All
That was a
right.
great impression.
That was a very good Luck Rock
Well,
impression.
thank you. Altius Volantis.
Hey, movie theater. Starlight's dead. I can't believe it.
I don't see.
Oh
So
no, she lost her sense of balance. There we go.
I'm glad it didn't set the auto exposure on the camera to be locked.
Oh, true.
That would that happened to me at one panel. Like everything was pitch black because the camera did compensate. So, all right. So I will not waste any more time with that. There is Blue Baroni here. He did all the music. He's basically the most important guy on the whole project.
No.
Like without him, I don't know what I've done.
But without Minty Root, there wouldn't be a movie. So
I
That
was gonna
is-
say, without Minty Root, there is no missing out, and there is no this panel.
People would be missing out.
Oh, you did it!
That's a knee slider.
Alrighty.
And
So
with that being said,
that's one good way to start. A lame
Yeah.
joke. All right. 3, 2, 1.
I don't get it.
easy. It's not a Riff Ponies panel, okay? Oh yeah, so you can probably we can turn lights off lower.
it's off. Man,
How's the weather been?
Have you seen Starlight? I can't find her anywhere. I think she went to the library. Thanks, Mike. No, Twilight. I think she's been there a lot lately. Maybe you should go check out if she's alright.
We could go down there.
yeah, that's true.
Why not? Why not?
Starlight. I also joined them late, missing out on many of their stories. I know it doesn't feel right, but it doesn't make our friendships any less genuine. You're right. I can't continue to pretend to laugh at jokes when I already know the punchline. I'm sorry. Alright, for Celestia, 3, 2, 1, action! Hey, Starlight. Still working on the magic tree tonight? Not tonight. I'm just here to think. I found this golden oak seed. I think my replica of the old tree will never match the original one. But maybe planting a new one to see it grow together is what we need. But what if it doesn't grow to be like the old one? Maybe it doesn't need to. Thank you, Twilight, for everything.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
That's what I was gonna say.
Oh, I got to the mic first.
Thanks, Minty Root.
I was going to say, another round of applause to the great work from Minty Root there. And also Blue Brony. Another round of applause for Blue Brony. Just, I guess I want to ask before. We have more Glimmer to add to the to the table now. Tiniest Glimmer. So good. So evil. But, so I guess before we continue on the group discussion, I just want to say, what was it like, what was the process working on this for you two as people who were directly involved in creating this really piece of art?
So the very first the very first thing that happened was I was at Nightmare Nights 2017, the very last Nightmare Nights. There was a panel right.
Your mic's not on.
There was a panel right before the closing ceremonies that was Convention Memories. Nightmare Nights 2017 was my first in Nightmare Nights, and they were talking about all the memories that they had from previous conventions, and it felt really heartbreaking to think of all the memories I missed out on. And while thinking about that, there was the episode What About Discord, where it was basically just the idea of a running gag that Twilight was not on, and it just dawned on me eventually that Starlight missed out on a lot more things than, and eventually I just realized I wanted to have a story that was about Starlight and how it was like to miss out on all those events. And I was thinking of the last BronyCon, the fact that a lot of us were thinking that was really the end of the fandom, and really and I heard a lot of people said it was their first BronyCon too, which was really heartbreaking. And I just wanted to tell people, please, let's look at the fandom just from the point of view of Starlight. The idea that it's okay to be late to the game. It's okay to be the one friend in the group of friends who's been new, because in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't feel that much. Like Starlight, when she arrived in season 5, a lot of people freaked out thinking that she joined the main 6 and upset the balance. The show would turn garbage, and a lot of people really worried about that until I just had to learn to just accept that the show had the right to change. We had Twilicorn, we had the Golden Oak Library exploding, we had a couple of other changes in the later seasons, and just accepting those changes just eventually just felt it allowed me a bit to feel better when I turned 32, because I felt like a part of my life was over, and just to accept that the life can continue, and we can keep things going. We had G5, and some people have different opinions on G5, but I feel with thanks to Starlight Glimmer, I just realized that I'm much more open to that kind of change nowadays, because it just feels like if we accept change, we might be able to just discover new things that are so much more interesting in the fandom, and Starlight was one of them.
I was going to say, we've gotten plenty of panel material out of this particular character, so plenty of interesting new things to talk about.
We should have applied a panel just about Starlight Glimmer. What a good idea.
Wow, that's an awesome idea.
I don't know. I don't think anyone would go for that.
Nah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never
probably
seen a
get,
Starlight Glimmer fan.
We probably get 2 people, something.
So what was it like contributing to this project to you, Blue Brony?
Yes. So this was kind of one of those reasons why I love being in this fandom, is just the sheer amount of creativity to be found. Because, even the show itself, the show inspires so much, but, what inspires me is what the fandom does. And the fact that there are just so many. I remember when I first got into the fandom around 2014 or so, I got into the fandom basically about the time where most people would say that Brony fandom had peaked. And so I was getting on Equestria Daily, and it's like, oh my gosh, all this mind-blowing animation and music and art and all this stuff was happening. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be a part of that. Well, by the time I really kind of started gaining momentum myself, most people would say that missing out, I said missing out.
He said it.
He
I
said it! So that's why they call it that. I brought it back to Family Guy, everybody.
So it just so happened that me and Minty Rube were in a mutual Discord server for another project, and he kept and I kept on seeing these animation whips being made, and of course there wasn't any audio or music to it at the time, and so I practically begged Minty, please let me write music for this. And I didn't know anything about the story. I just saw the craft, and I saw this and the story. And I'll admit it right now, even though I'm up on stage right now, I'm not like the biggest Starlight Glimmer fan.
Well, we'll convert you.
I was going to say.
Yeah. I was about to say But definitely through this and through working on Missing Out and getting more exposure to that, I've grown to appreciate her as a character a lot more. And I wanted to pour my heart and soul into this music for Missing Out because I felt like it was a very heartfelt message, and it touched me too. Just thinking about the idea of, oh man, I've missed my chance, and also the idea of I can't talk to anybody about that. For the longest time, Starlight felt like she couldn't say anything about how she felt like she was missing out because that would seem ungrateful or something like that. And so, I poured that emotion into my music, and it was a first time for everything, and I'm very thankful for that opportunity. It was beautiful how it turned out.
It really is. It really is. You and everyone else that contributed to it, incredible job. Mm-hmm. So another round.
Golf clap.
Golf clap. And then Luck Rock's here too. What did you think of it, Luck?
One of the things that I think stuck out to me the most was I love how. So, first off, Minty animating over a lot of scenes that stick out as sort of iconic. I thought it was really cool how even though it was only on screen for a couple seconds, it was immediately you knew where it was, what was happening, what episode it was from. But what really amazed me between the combination of both of your talents is that you animated not just the tree blowing up, but there's a little bit of a precursor where you see the firebolt going where as soon as you see it moving, you're like, oh no.
Right.
And for a lot of people, especially when that happened or the first time they saw it in the actual show, that was this devastating moment that when you think of the entire show, that was one of the most heartfelt sad things. But the way it's portrayed in Missing Out is it's sort of this acceptance of I have to let this happen.
Yeah.
And the music in it is almost triumphant and swelling into this you took that scene and made it into a good thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a difficult thing to do, but to make it execute as beautifully as it is, I think that needs to be pointed out.
Yeah, no, that's a perfect point to make.
So to answer your question, I liked it.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, I think just kind of adding on to that, I think we as the human race, sorry, I know a lot of people are disappointed to find out they're not ponies, but as the human race, we very much cling to the idea of we don't like when things change a lot. We really don't like change, and so a lot of times we kind of cling to that nostalgia, and I think just adding on what was already said about the Brony fandom, and there was a lot of really cool stuff that happened in the early days that can really never be recreated. We can't go back and experience what PonyCons were like in 2012, 2013, 2014. Again, as someone who myself, I didn't get into the show until 2015. I felt a lot of that, but I think it's I don't know. I really liked the idea of showing through Starlight that you can make new memories. It's not going to be the same as the old. My favorite scene in that is the very end, where they're talking about the tree. What if it's not the same? And then Starlight saying, but that's okay. I don't know. I love that because we can kind of have this idea of the golden age of the fandom when it was peak and we were all over the news and all that sort of thing, and everyone was just goofing off, having a good time. But we're still here. We're still goofing off, having a great time.
That's a great song too.
That's just another song reference. We're still making new memories here as a fandom, and I think Starlight kind of encapsulated that a lot, especially with when she was introduced. A lot of people were there was a lot of pushback. Because people were no, we don't want this new Twilight replacement coming in here. But she ended up developing into her own character, and she wasn't just Twilight 2. She had her unique set of way that her brain worked around certain things, and she was just a new unique character, and I think a lot of those parallels. All that to say, I really like Starlight Glimmer, and I really like this animation. They're pretty cool.
No, I'm in full agreement with that as well. She provided what you were kind of getting at is she's a new perspective to what we knew, and we're talking about making new memories, and making new memories is okay even while the old ones are still there. That's what you accomplished here, Minty, and you, Blue Brony, is you made new memories with this character. So, and because of that, it's entered the canon of pony animations, and I think it's one of the best. So that's huge congrats to both of your work on this. And I also, on a less serious note, I just want to note I love the shot where everyone is terrified of Nightmare Moon, and then Starlight Glimmer comes in with the biggest Glimmer grin ever. Just woo! It's great. I loved that. That was one of my favorite details.
I got a speedrunning strat.
But I love
% Nightmare Moon.
That's a fun headcanon.
Yes, you have to backwards long jump on the Nightmare Moon boss stage, you know?
Yeah, you can skip straight to the room with the elements of harmony.
Exactly. Yeah, but and also talking about that element to it, no pun intended. It's just neat to see the playing around with the timeline in it as well, just on a base level. That's just fun in any kind of media. The thing I always think about, I think from the minute I saw this when it premiered at last TrotCon, was my head immediately went to like, oh, this is like why I love something like Back to the Future Part 2. Or like an Infinity War, just time travel shenanigans and changing the timeline and seeing characters in a different play out of how those events would go. That stuff's just so much fun to me in general. So even beyond just the metaphorical element of it, it's just neat to see the character in that surrounding. And like, how would Starlight react to Nightmare Moon or any of these situations they were put in? Like the Ticketmaster scene, that's great. I loved all of the meta you play with it in that scene. What was it like writing it? That was my next question, because you mentioned wanting to talk about that a little bit.
So it was really interesting because I was trying to make sure that it wouldn't be like just a redo of anything with Sunset Shimmer. I really wanted to fully capture a character. Originally, the story was pretty different. You had basically the whole conversation. You had of Starlight trying to replicate the new tree, the holographic tree. She had, and in the original version, instead of just ending with Starlight saying, well, actually, she was supposed to say, it's not just the tree, and basically say, basically break out, go to Canterlot, find the spell. Twilight catches her while she's doing it because she finds something suspicious. So Twilight gets with Starlight to the past. And Starlight is basically essentially telling Starlight, but basically she says, I need to go there. Like, I missed out all of that. I need to experience that. And Twilight just asks her, like, aren't you selfish for trying to destroy the world like that for your own desires? And Starlight replies, am I selfish for wanting the same thing everybody else has? And Twilight doesn't really know what else to do, and she asks at some point, she says, like, are you still ready to still pretend to laugh at jokes you already know the punchline of? And she realizes at that point when she looks at the party, and she sees Twilight just burning herself in the hot sauce, she realizes that she can't really recapture the feeling of something she already knows about. It's like rewatching you can't rewatch a movie for the first time.
Right. You can only watch it once the first time.
And
once.
You had Starlight just realizing it as she's talking outside of the Golden Oak Library with Twilight. And, they have nice talk about the fact that Twilight misses it. And she says, but it was still a bit cold. It wasn't perfect, but I'm glad that I got to see it again. And then you had the two, the camera panned up as they left, and then the camera panned down as the tree was gone.
Right.
And you saw them back, looking back, and you had Twilight be the one with the seed saying, I found this, maybe we could plant a new one.
Got you.
And then I realized that's not Starlight enough. It feels like Starlight would probably try to fix things her own way without Twilight. And I realized, I think
I was going to say, Luck is nodding behind you
Yeah,
aggressively.
that's right.
Yeah, that is what Glimmer would do.
and I realized at some point that I felt like past Twilight would be more interesting to be the one talking about it, because turns out, and I only realized it while working in it, Twilight also missed out a lot. Like, she's the last member of the main six. She came in and at the party. The other ponies already knew each other. So from Twilight's point of view, she was basically Starlight she was basically the new Starlight.
Right.
And she has a lot in common with Starlight already. She's very impulsive. She knows a lot about magic. She's not the best with friends. So, and that's the easy parallels. She doesn't have the same goals as Starlight, and she have the same follow-up as Starlight, even when she became Midnight Sparkle in EQG. So, and I really felt still that the fact that Twilight missed out on a lot of things, that she would be able to relate to her, and also show because just like in the season 5 finale, the way that Twilight was trying to explain to Starlight that those things happen. She wanted to talk to her through, to talk to how, try to convince her with some nice arguments instead of trying to force her.
Right. There's a moment of understanding in that moment, and that's like you said, that is a perfect way to put it, because I never really thought, especially before this animation, but that is an element of it between their two characters that they share, where they were both the last into a friend group, and that's one of the connections they have as characters that your work here really highlights. That is an element of it I didn't think of until this particular animation.
Yeah, and I think just the idea to have, because you mentioned that originally Twilight was gonna present the acorn, and I feel like having the roles essentially reversed there, because Starlight kind of just had this conversation with Twilight, not just had, but I think it's just a lot more impactful for Starlight to have been the one who said that, because I think that is something that in that situation, I think it makes a lot of sense for Twilight to feel that way of like, what if it's not the same as everything, because I think it's awesome that they can kind of relate there, in that they both missed out, but
You said it.
He said it. Did it again.
But yeah, and I, because you said that originally, like the script had Twilight essentially going with Starlight and like explaining things to her, and I think just I think that the decision to go for a more show not tell kind of perspective, even though it, I imagine, added a lot of time to the animation. But I think going that route just like speaks 1,000 words. I just think it was so much more interesting to like see all that stuff play out, and see Starlight kind of come to that realization herself, basically. Like, past Twilight had to talk to her and everything, but I think it was just really impactful for Starlight to get to that conclusion on her own. So, yeah.
Which, as I said, when Luck was behind you nodding vigorously, I agree, that is what Glimmer would do. Glimmer would do it herself.
Yep.
So, any other notes you want to get? This is kind of a director's commentary right here that we're running here. I appreciate this.
I did not mean it to be a missing out panel.
Well, it's about Glimmer,
Yeah.
Although it's relevant.
One thing I wanted to talk a bit about was how different Starlight is from Sunset Shimmer, because a lot of people, the parallels are there. They are both unicorns who try to take over the world for their own desires. if you look back at Sunset, her plans were to basically have her pay back against Princess Celestia, and from what I can get from the original comic, a lot of it was because she had gripes with how Celestia was handling things, and Celestia thought that Sunset was way too selfish, and it was really just, and if you look just the fact that you have Sunset being a massive bully with all the other characters, she really doesn't believe in friendship in any other way than a way to acquire power.
Right.
So she mostly uses her knowledge of friendship as a bullying tactic.
Right.
So she breaks friendships all across, and you still have actually Starlight breaking friendships because she wanted to destroy the timeline. But the thing is that if you look back in basically her whole desire she had with the Cutie Map is that she wanted to make everybody equal because she thought that differences in talent would make for inequalities that would break friendships, because that's exactly what happened with her
Sunburst,
Sunburst.
yeah.
So she thought that if she could do that with Twilight 2 to try to convince her that it was the right way, did make sense. She was trying to make the world right by breaking things for her own desires.
Right.
And she didn't feel that much like payback, because if you look at the way that she treated Fluttershy, she's basically not even trying to bully her, like protecting her from bullies, just because she felt like it would even things out a lot more. And then and then you have Twilight basically saying no, she needs to be bullied for the timeline to make sense. And Starlight is there like, you really want her to get bullied? What a monster.
Right, when you think about it in that it's a difference in when you tilt it in a different perspective. Yeah. Now, how did those particular things you're highlighting between Sunset and Starlight, how did that influence in how you wrote? Because you have another animation that's a Sunset Shimmer animation. Shameless plug. Actually, not shameless. Very
Yeah.
Yes, shameless
If you haven't
plug.
seen it, you're missing out.
Oh! Now we're good. Yeah, right. Oh, and a dab. But no, yes, shameless plug of Minty's other excellent animations. But what was the driving force between how you would write Starlight in this compared to how you would try to capture Sunset Shimmer?
I did get a lot of help with the Fall of Sunset Shimmer because it was slightly based on a comic,
Okay,
but I did base a lot of based a lot of it based on my own childhood, just the struggle of understanding friendship, and I feel Sunset would be the kind, because she struggled a lot at understanding how friendship could be working,
Right.
and I could understand that she would take all the knowledge would acquire over time just as a way to destroy friendships, because it was the only thing she could think of, destruction. And I thought a lot of it as how Princess Celestia would teach her. In the comic, the way I did see it, I felt like Celestia was trying to teach her to be more like a fighter or like a warrior. And the mistake was to realize that without teaching her friendship, she didn't really know who to fight for.
Right.
And as she only knew to fight, and even there she wasn't that good, because the only plan she had was to use students that in the past the mirror they wouldn't have any power because they didn't have any magic knowledge, and she basically wanted to just use them as basically threaten them in front of Celestia, saying that do something to me and I'll hurt them.
Right.
And she knew that Celestia cared way too much about them to be able to do anything. And I feel with Sunset, her plan was a bit of a cry for help. Like, I think she didn't plan the end game, because I think all she really wanted to do was to really do any kind of chaos as possible to make herself heard with her problem. While Starlight's plan was pretty simple. She had her village that she already set up.
Right.
She had a status quo within the village until the main six came in to realize, maybe, don't steal cutie marks.
Right. Would it be fair to say that it's somewhat kind of approached it. Would it be fair of me to say you approached it with Sunset is kind of an abuse of friendship dynamics, and Starlight is more a misunderstanding of it?
I think so, because if you look at the way that she saw the fact that she just lost her friend for many years because of that inequality, I think she just saw that any change in status quos would break any kind of friendship, instead of accepting that friendship is, it has, sometimes you'll have highs and lows to handle with. You'll have some friends with bigger opportunities. Sometimes you'll have a friend going to a different school, and you might get jealous, or you might feel like the friendship will just fade away with time. Sometimes you just have some friends who are better friends than others, and this happens.
Luck is raising his hand behind you. Luck is.
I'm gonna steal the mic. Sorry.
Oh.
It's just, you talked earlier about how you changed the script around because it didn't feel Starlight enough. That made me think of something that I've been dying to ask this panel, and maybe some people here.
Right.
It's very open-ended. There's no right answer.
Okay.
I was in an argument this past week.
Where is this going?
With who?
With some friends.
Okay.
That boiled down to the question: would Starlight Glimmer put pineapple on her pizza?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And here's
100%.
Here's my way of thinking about it. And maybe you guys can debate it or tell me if I'm right or wrong. But I think, weirdly, I think of when she's trying to hang out with Rainbow Dash and make friends. She's trying to make friends, and Rainbow Dash brings she's like, you'll meet Spitfire. She's the Wonderbolt, and Glimmer's like, I don't know what that is. And I think about how Glimmer is very much if there's one thing it's for sure, she is very much herself. Shamelessly.
Yes.
And a lot of times that can mean not fitting in or knowing what's going on at all. And so when I wonder if she would put pineapple on pizza, I don't think that's going far enough out. I think that Starlight is the one to put ketchup on her spaghetti.
Yo. No. Maybe.
Okay.
I can see it.
That was my thought until earlier today when I tested that question with some people, and immediately they said, no, that's Trixie.
Yeah.
I think they were meant. I think they were meant for each other. Well, if she can eat Sugar Bell's cooking back when she didn't have a cutie bark.
Oh no.
Yep.
I don't like this headcanon.
Listen, Starlight has a complicated palate, okay?
Maybe Starlight would eat plain spaghetti until she met Trixie, who taught her to add ketchup.
Oh.
I'm going with that.
Okay, fair.
Can I pick a new favorite character now?
Well, I'm pretty sure Trixie, her wagon is just filled with cans of canned spaghetti.
Chef Boyardee.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Bottles of ketchup, and that's all she has.
100%.
Listen, every meal for the great and powerful Trixie is a struggle meal, all right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I wanted to come back to the whole Sunset versus Starlight thing. How you mentioned that what was it? I forget the specific wording. You said Sunset was doing it for one reason and Starlight was doing it for another.
Sunset was abusing friendship dynamics, while Starlight it was a misunderstanding of it.
Yeah. I think it's interesting, and I just want to throw this out there because not enough people have said it, and this is probably my only opportunity to say this. Sunset Shimmer and Tai Lung from Kung Fu Panda have an eerie amount of similarities in their character arcs.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah, I can see it.
But
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
But Starlight is more so they were both kind of hurt. They were both hurt in a way that they couldn't really understand, and eventually led them to doing the things that they did. But they were kind of hurt in very different ways. Sunset was kind of built up to be this prodigy for Celestia, and then kind of essentially told, no, you can't have the dragon scroll. You're not the dragon warrior.
Right.
But Starlight had and a lot of people, one of the biggest criticisms people have for Starlight is her backstory. and I get why, because it does seem a little silly. But like, just she had an understanding of how the world worked when she was very young, and she had that kind of shattered. So she was like, all right, then I guess the best way to go about things is to work off of that one thing. And like, she's a very impulsive character. She has a lot of like mental stuff going on that leads her to being as impulsive as she is. But she sees like, and like it's even shown in like the missing out thing. As soon as Twilight points out that the door is a little bit different, she's like, oh nope, okay, all right, I guess it's all messed up, it's all awful. And that's just kind of what Starlight does. She's very competent, and she knows what she's doing most of the time, but the second there's a mistake, she's like, all right, we got to start from square one.
Right.
And I feel like that's just kind of what led her to where she is, and I think that's a really, I don't know, just a really relatable aspect of her character is that like how she, and Twilight does this to an extent where she overanalyzes things, but Starlight kind of takes it to the next level where any like, and she gets better over the course of the show, but she's very impulsive. She sees something wrong, and she thinks that everything's wrong. And I think, I just think that's a cool aspect of her character and makes her feel very real and very relatable.
It's almost like, in a way, because the moment you're talking about specifically with her childhood and how it influences everything else she does, it's almost like, I don't want to presume, but it's almost like a trauma response, if you could. Like, I mean, in the season 6 premiere, I believe that's the crystalling, you have that moment with her where the sound cuts out around her, and it's like a panic attack almost. And it's like, that's, again, like you said, that's really real. And she is impulsive, and she will have moments like in that one episode with Pinky, I believe, where Pinky wants an answer out of her, and she just gives it to her as bluntly as possible. And it's the most Starlight. And from then on, I was like, no, that's Starlight.
Yeah.
She will tell you, if you press her, she'll tell you, she'll do something or tell you what she thinks.
You kept ruining everything?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And that's, to me, for some people, they'll look, or like when she brainwashed all of her friends in every little thing she does.
Not her best moment.
No, but it's a character building episode where it's like, that is what she'll do to solve a problem.
Yep.
And that's because she's impulsive, like you said.
If you want to talk impulsive, though, like, literally, Celestia made like a snippy remark, and she was like, "All right, cutie marks, switching."
Cutie marks are switching.
You said a thing. We're changing the dynamic of the government. Let's go.
Yes.
No second thoughts.
And I want.
I love the fact that she nonchalantly is just like, oh yeah, no, this is fine.
And
I just switched the keyboard.
Just gonna do this now.
Yeah.
I do wonder if all of it also goes back to her magic skills, the fact that she's that good at magic compared to Twilight. You have Twilight, who does seem... Twilight really loves to read books, and she really loves to learn about how things work. So, of course, Twilight that wouldn't care really to have the best spells, while you have Starlight, who really wants to have the max skills at everything. So, and when you put them in a fight, you have Starlight, who has all the spells to just fight. Yeah, she has a crystal spell. She can float in the air, just out of sheer will, just levitating herself out of anger. While you have Twilight, who has alicorn magic, and she's barely able to go against her, just because Starlight just is.
Right. I was going to say, something that struck me about that particular scene, rewatching it recently, was they're evenly matched. And if you really think, I really thought about that conceptually, and I'm like, man, I think like Starlight, or it might have been Twilight, said it at one point. She's like, we're just going to do this forever across time. And it's like, that would probably would be what would happen if Twilight didn't eventually talk her down. They would just fight each other across time for an eternity.
Well, going off that too,
right.
Starlight's the only villain that Twilight didn't, they didn't stop her. They had to get her to stop herself.
Yes, exactly.
All she had to do was rip that paper, which she could have done.
Yep.
And she won.
There you go.
Which would have been losing, but whatever.
Whatever.
She was the only one that they couldn't just like magic blast to stop.
Exactly. Yeah. It makes her such an interesting character in that regard. You want to say, Blue? Or any?
Yeah.
Did you want to say something? I'm sorry. You took the microphone, and I was like, "Oh, Blue's gonna say something." Let me give this. No.
Well, the main thing I would think of it is in D&D terms, Starlight Glimmer has a 24 on her intelligence meter, but because of that, she dumped a lot on her charisma.
Right.
What about her wisdom?
Yeah, wisdom's.
Her
Wisdom,
Her
yeah.
wisdom was way down too.
Yes.
You're very pragmatic. What do you want? What do you want?
I was gonna say
There is some charisma there.
she ran a cult. So
You do have to have charisma to run.
yes, exactly.
I was gonna say, I think charisma is one of her highest stats because
I think she fudged the rolls.
No,
Starlight Glimmer's a hacker.
I think it's just a Kelly Sheridan factor. It has nothing else to do with it. She's
Yeah.
just-
It's a feat.
I think in Starlight's like impulsivity, she's the kind of kid who like when she was a kid, she was playing Pokemon Yellow, right? And she lost to Brock once, so she leveled her Pikachu up to level 100.
On Caterpies and Pidgeys.
Yep,
Yes.
exactly. She's just so like oh, what is it? Not blunt. She's so like
impulsive.
Driven?
yeah. She has a very thick skull. She'll keep like bashing it against the wall to get it done.
And give her credit, she does.
She did.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
does.
And like her impulsivity is one of her most interesting like attributes because not only is it like a big flaw in her character and makes her feel real, but it also is one of the biggest reasons why like she's kind of an essential part of the cast later
Yeah.
on. The moment in what the episode was called, the Freaky Friday one, where they swapped Celestia and Luna's cutie marks.
Right.
No one else would have done that.
Right.
That problem would have kept going on. Twilight was basically like just constantly at their feet, like groveling.
Right.
And Starlight was like, "No, there's a problem here. I'm gonna fix it."
Right. Whatever means necessary.
Yeah.
And right. And that's what was exciting about whenever you'd have a later season episode and Starlight would show up, and I'm like, oh, I know how Twilight will react to this situation. I know how Applejack or Rarity or whoever. I don't know how Starlight's going to
Starlight's a
react
wild
to this.
card.
The wild card, exactly. And now I want someone to draw Starlight as Charlie from Always Sunny in the back of the van. Wild cards.
One thing I do appreciate is that it's not just that impulsivity correlated to her strength, because as she accepted herself a bit better, she became capable of just fighting one-on-one with Queen Chrysalis, who previously beat the hell out of Princess Celestia.
Yeah.
Which I'd argue is quite good as a lesson, because you really teach kids that it's not just about being impulsive, it's about being driven, which is a great lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chrysalis was arguably a lot stronger in that moment too,
She
because
was
she had that Grogar good stuff.
Yep.
So
Just more magic. Good
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
That's true.
She
Yeah.
had all that. She had all that magic in her, and she beat an alicorn before by by feasting on the love of like a married couple, and that's a lot. Probably, I assume so.
Well, the Princess of Love.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, though, we all agree the only reason she bested Starlight in the finale is for plot convenience, right?
Oh yeah,
She-
no.
It was because she
takes her
had to. It
1v1
wasn't because she
any
was
day.
stronger.
And I really like the
Anyway, redo season 9.
Oh no.
I also really appreciate the fact that Starlight was ready to throw quips just to show that she felt more comfortable about it.
Put it on my tab.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
She finally accepted the fact, the social part of just accepting to throw in a joke instead of
Right.
to make everything serious.
She's in her element.
which is great.
Yeah. Her element of harmony is quips. Don't know how you're going to use
Element of
that.
sass.
Element of sass.
The element of snarkasm.
Sarcasm. I think we're at time, by the way. This has been such a blast. Y'all are awesome. You all are awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, all that to say, Starlight Glimmer, best pony.
Yes. Yes. Any final words, everybody at the table here?
Horse.
Thank you, Minty.
Shameless plug, if you would like to purchase the soundtrack to Missing Out, I will be selling it probably starting tomorrow and Sunday.